Can you hear me, Zach? Oh, there's Grace.
Hello, can you hear me?
I hear you.
Jens hears me.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Zach. I just got back to my office here. I want to check that email you sent me.
Did I give you the listing?
Yeah, I'm gonna click on it.
I have to ask how many people signed up for this, just to see how many we're expecting.
Jens, I can barely hear you.
Wonder why. I mean, I'm on my earbuds right now.
Kind of sounds like you're on speakerphone.
Might be. Can you hear me very well, Grace? Or does it sound pretty quiet
Well,
to you?
When you pick up your voice like that, it helps.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. How many people are SVP?
Oh, let me look. Four of us. And I think
Is
it's
that including the presenter and yourself?
including me. Alyssa Williamson is the other one.
Okay. So
Yeah, it's probably not a popular time yet, picked up traction there. So Jens, are you in your car working, or are you at home, or?
I'm at home. I'm just making lunch because I've
Oh,
got
yeah.
a yard project in the back going on this morning. I got a helper here that I'm paying we're tearing out a bunch of English ivy and then like rototilling and amending a bed for like a garden and everything like that to make my yard prettier and grow some stuff. So it's
So
a little fun.
while you're making lunch, do you want to tell about your deal that you went into to Zach and me?
Yeah, so after a lot of hunting and every possible avenue I can try and find motivated sellers through, we had 2 appointments to go and make offers on. And again, I'm not like super comfortable like with the numbers because I don't know what each person thinks that they'll be able to flip a house on. And I'm more, like I don't necessarily want to flip because I'm not comfortable number wise, so I'd rather wholesale it. So I don't know the numbers, so I asked, Saffron and Kevin to kind of go with me, and we kind of talked about teaming up a bit before. So they went with me. We looked at the place, they ran the numbers, and the first one, they're still thinking about it, but the house needs like a fair amount of work. They're gonna have to be really desperate. They might be, but it'll probably be down to the last minute. But the second one we went on, like we kind of negotiated. I thought the deal wasn't going to go through because we couldn't quite get to where she wanted. And then when we kind of were like, yeah, it's really like the best we can do, she's like, all right. And she went for it. I was like, we're only $15,000 apart from what she was asking. But she was so ready to get out of there. And that was what she said. She's like, I'm ready to go. Like, and she needs to give her tenants like 30 days notice. So she's 30 days from being able to get out of there. And the sooner she signs and gets things in motion, the sooner she can get out. So for her, she didn't want to wait longer and then have like it pushed back even further for her. So we all had masks on. Otherwise, she might have seen our jaws drop.
Yeah.
She said, all right, let's do it. But yeah, according to Kevin and Saffron, after they reran the numbers and got the ARV and everything on it, we got it for $235, and the ARV is supposed to be about $412, like on the low end, maybe $429.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
How much work?
They're expecting maybe 40,000 in repairs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's going to be a nice little deal. Nice little split. So
Where is it at?
it's, I'm trying to think of the name of the neighborhood. It wasn't long. It's kind of up in Fir Grove area, like Santa Clara. So it's a really nice part of town. Like there's a lot of like, $400,000-ish range homes up that way.
Nice. What was your marketing strategy to get that lead?
Sending out a lot of text to a lot of potential people, and then seeing who actually responded back and got a conversation.
Gotcha. So you were just kind of skip trace
Pretty quick.
phone
It's
numbers.
like, well, really just asking, like, yeah, like I was looking for really anything that might be burned out landlord, divorces, eviction stuff. I mean, really everything. I can't even remember which one this one came from. Because I just had a pretty big list. Like, I mean, I've been looking at ugly properties that are like non-owner occupied, because it seems like all the ugly owner occupied, they're not ready to go because there's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So they're not motivated to leave. Everything else is expensive anywhere else. So, but yeah. So I just really, it was whoever started responding back to texts that, when you asked them if they might be interested in selling, you get a dialogue going. It's like, all right, well, I guess, we can come take a look and give you an offer. And I figured we'd probably do a lot of offers and then eventually finding somebody, but, it was our second appointment. So,
Good for you.
which is nice. Yeah, it's nice because I've been working on this for months, just figuring stuff out and getting like lists figured out,
Yeah.
a lot of conversations, and just, I don't know, it felt like a lot of dead ends for a little while. So
Well, that's awesome.
yeah,
Those are some great numbers for a project.
I know, as long as nothing goes crazy, we should be on the market ready to sell like in January, according to Kevin and Saffron. And so, like the cut that I should be getting, and we've got a joint venture agreement, it should cover my basic living costs for like the whole year of 2020, which will be nice starting out the year that way. And then I should be able to really just dedicate my time to like, rinsing and repeating the process and getting better at it. So that's the hope.
This is the beginning.
And I'm
great.
tired of the W-2 stuff. I didn't like having to go back to W-2 work. It doesn't pay enough. So,
Yeah.
but trying to work two jobs and one that's not paying yet and getting it going to where it does pay is really hard when you got a W-2 that eats up all your time.
Oh yeah.
So, all right. I am
That's awesome.
here.
That's
Yeah.
very awesome. So Alyssa can't join until 30. And hey, there he is.
Yeah.
So Zach, run those numbers for me that Jens just gave, and if including like possibilities of hard money lending payments, that kind of stuff.
Wait, on this one?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yeah.
That he was describing?
Yes.
Yeah, so you said it was purchase of
430. Yeah, 435 acquisition price.
435 acquisition?
235. Sorry,
235.
235.
Yeah,
That would make a very big difference.
with a 40,000 rehab budget, so about
I believe so.
Yeah, that's what Kevin came up with.
Yeah. And like the outside's pretty dang good. It's even got a metal roof on it, and the outside paint's great. It's just unfortunately a terrible color. Even the owner admitted, and she's like, it's not for everybody, but it makes me happy. But we're like, yeah, but now we got to repaint it.
You said the ARV, your resale price?
Yeah, Joanna, I think, is one of the brokers they sent it to after we got it under contract to get an ARV, and she did a whole bunch of numbers and stuff, and 412 was like kind of the low end and up to 429. So, and again, it's sort of projecting what it would be by the time we're on the market. So not necessarily what it is right this moment. So again, we'll see.
Yeah, so that's definitely within the less than 70% ARV.
Yeah, I think Kevin said it was like a 0.58 is the way it calculated out what he said.
Yeah.
Which he said is really good. Like it's.
Yeah, it's excellent. So if I was working with, a newer investor, generally on that deal, I would have they would have to put about 30,000, 25 to 30,000 down, and we'd be able to finance the rest. For
What
a
percentage would that be, or Is it a percentage or is it more of just a flat number?
It's the down payment is usually 10% of the combined purchase and rehab. So
Okay.
you're looking at 27,500. So that's why
Mhm.
it's, somewhere 25 to 30,000 down.
Gotcha.
The loan would cover the rest with a credit line set aside for the rehab to be drawn later.
Mhm.
Interest only on the outstanding balance. So you're not charged interest on that rehab money until you take it. And generally, like a newer investor is going to be on a loan to value like that, probably at like 11% interest rate.
Mhm.
With depending on, well, it sounds like a pretty short-term project. So we
Yeah.
probably do like a 6-month loan term.
Mhm.
And that would be 3% in origination on that loan. And that would be probably rolled into the loan. So financed into it. So if I'm doing my math right, if you put, say, 30,000 down, we'd probably have a loan of somewhere around 255, 260 to cover everything, including loan fees and closing costs and insurance and things like that.
Okay.
That would set
So
us
we got, yeah. So
40,000,
235 plus the 40s 275.
right?
So
And then add in a 3% origination fee to the loan.
mhm.
Be looking at, let's just make it an even 8,000 for simplicity sake. You've got another typically $995 for an administrative fee on the loan. Some lenders call it a doc prep fee or underwriting fee, but we call it an admin fee. So you're looking at about 9,000 or so in loan fees. And then
Mhm.
typically between title, escrow, insurance, taxes, all of that stuff, you're looking at a couple thousand on a purchase of that size. So you're looking at about 11,000 in just transaction costs
Mhm.
associated with the purchase.
And
So-
that has to do with the 3 points and other stuff and the
Yeah.
closing costs with escrow and
Yeah, so really you're looking at needing to come to closing with about 246,000.
mhm.
And so if we had a loan of, say, 255,000, but we held back 40,000 for the rehab. So we come to escrow with 215, and then the borrower would come to escrow with the remaining 31,000 typically. And then, like I said, that rehab budget is there to be drawn down later, and you're not charged interest on it until you take it. And then those are typically dispersed for like reimbursements as you complete the repairs or direct payments to a contractor if you've hired it out. Or we can pay down payments or large orders of supplies and materials and things like that. And then that's for like a newer investor. If we're working with somebody that we've done successful deals with, or people with a lot of experience, like
lower risk.
Saffron, we can get kind of creative depending on what they want. Sometimes we do 100% of purchase price, so they don't have to put any cash down, and we don't even bother with the rehab budget because we know that they're going to go get it done. Sometimes we're just going with lower pricing. Sometimes they ask for creative stuff like a 50-50 split on the rehab, or
I didn't know that was an option, but I thought maybe somebody might negotiate it or try to negotiate it.
Yeah, so if we're working with people that we like, know, and trust, who have experience, we can do all kinds of fun stuff. So typically with a first-time borrower, it's pretty cut and dry.
High risk.
Yeah, high risk. But that's a pretty good loan to value. If you have a loan of 255 and an ARV of, say, just really conservatively 400, you're still less than 65% loan to value, which
Yeah.
very competitive. It's going to be a good profit margin.
I want to go back to the question Jens asked earlier, which was how did you come up with the down? So with these numbers of 235 plus the 40 for rehab, plus 8 for origination fees, plus 3 for other closing costs, that's 286.
Yeah.
And you said 285, I get it. And then you have a down of 30,000. How do we project that for our?
Yeah, I took 10% of those project costs, essentially. So I said a down payment of somewhere 25 to 30,000.
Okay.
You know, once you calculate what the total project costs are, we usually do a maximum of 90% loan to cost. So that means that the borrower has to cover 10% of the costs, and that's always a payment unless they're more experienced.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, and I've had plenty of situations where, you know, Jens, like a newer investor comes, they don't have the down, and but they still want to get this deal done. I tell them exactly, you know, what that cash down or equity requirement would be, and then I recommend them that they look for some creative solutions, whether it be like a
Seller financing
Yes.
portion of it, maybe.
Exactly. In fact, I just got off the phone with a builder down in Medford who's got a real cool multi-million-dollar project, but his contracting business, they're in the middle of like several different projects and he's limited on capital, and recommended a seller carry to make up that cash down that he needed. And he called me this morning and said, they took it. I can't believe it. So we're going to do the deal. So.
Yeah, this was almost going to just be a wholesale. And I told like Kevin and Saffron, I'm like, you know, you guys already have another project. It's totally up to you guys. Like, I don't want you to be like over risk or over leverage. It does not matter to me. Money tomorrow, money today, it's all good. So, you know, and at first he was like, yeah, like it's going to be way too tight. So the plan was to wholesale, but I had a message like the next morning is like, no, the numbers are too good. He's like, I'm not letting this one go. So he's like, we will make this work. So they got creative. I believe right now they're talking about getting 100% financing and even having like even the closing costs wrapped into the loan. So
Nice.
Yeah, just to take the squeeze off of them. And again, just mostly because of how much equity there is in the deal right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I know they have like a lender that's like their go-to lender at AIC or something, right?
I think
I had talked to them a long time ago at Precision.
Yeah, I think it's Precision.
Yeah.
I see Adam. Yeah.
Adam.
Yeah.
they said he's definitely expensive though, but you know, sometimes 100% financing is a little hard to not take when, you know, that's about like the only way to do the deal. It's like you just don't have the money up front. So
If they're limited on cash.
yeah.
Yeah. I haven't talked to Precision in a long time, Zach, but they do something off of the ARV rather than off of the cost. But I mean, years ago,
Right.
how they were doing it. So I don't know if that's still how they're doing it or not, but that's how they come up with a higher loan to present value, I guess.
Yeah, they don't bother with anything other than their after repair value estimate, which they plug into their computer model.
Yeah.
Spits it out.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of
And
investors get 100%, 110% financing from their underwriting model.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess they've done a number of deals with them, so they're comfortable like doing that with them. So
Well, and like I said, we would probably do something similar with Kevin and Saffron, since I know them and I know their experience.
yeah. And yeah, if it's got that much equity in it, you're more or less still kind of covered, and knowing they have experience that they shouldn't screw it up too bad.
Yeah. But we do generally, even with our experienced borrowers, do want to see them with some skin in the game. Some type of skin in the game. So, but I'm doing like a $1.6 million construction loan to one of our repeat borrowers up in Sweet Home for a 12-unit apartment complex. And I'm doing that at, I think, 97% loan to cost. So he covered like a little bit of the down payment, a lot that he bought about 6 months ago. And then he's going to cover some interest. And that's about it. We're going to cover the rest. So
And this is new construction or?
yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
I guess my point is, like, once we start working with people, we trust them, and
Yeah.
the skin in the game requirement gets smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you, Grace, but me and Kevin and Saffron drove by the Groverdale place just to see if we could catch Black Pearl guy, Mike.
Yeah.
Is that his name? Yeah.
Yeah.
We had just missed him, but we saw the house and it's looking really good. Like they were pretty close to being done. So
Yeah.
I think they were probably like the end of this week, like should be about done with it. So
Yeah, I figure it'll be pending for the next mom, but he agreed to show it at the next mom.
nice.
Yeah, and I did the same thing. I went there and the guy says, "Oh, you just missed him," you know, that's working there. And so he goes,
Mhm.
"Go on through." So I did, and I come back and I'm like, "Dang, did you do that tile work? That is great tile work." And he was like,
Yeah.
"No, that's Mike. That's his hobby." It's like,
Oh wow.
remember that. He likes to do it.
Did you see the butcher block cabinet tops in the kitchen?
No, I don't remember that. I just remember the tile work in the bathroom and the kitchen. But yeah, but sounds familiar maybe. I'm not a butcher. It's interesting when people flippers put
Yeah.
butcher block in because it's not a durable countertop,
Yeah.
but
And it seems high maintenance too, but
and it's cheap. I mean, it's much cheaper. Yeah. So
that might explain it.
yeah. Oh yeah.
It'll look pretty when it's sold, and the owners will figure out later on that it's maintenance.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Don't be using your knives on it just because it putting your hot plates on it and stuff like that.
just because it looks like a cutting board. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah. I considered it, Zach, on that single wide. We're still working on it. And when the rains
Oh, you are?
came, we found 3 leaks just going
Oh,
right
no.
down into the walls. And this is after Tom had already put a new snow coat on it. So
Oh no.
so it explains the discoloration and all that kind of stuff that we'd seen. It's still an active leak. We'd gone for, 6 months without any rain. And then,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is that just turned into a nightmare or what?
For Tom. Tom's like, I just want this anchor off my neck.
Oh no. I'm so sorry to Tom.
And it's like, so when I purchased it, he agreed to do it. And he's like, "Oh, it'll just take 30 days, no problem, maybe 45. I'm like, "Yeah, I've heard this before." So so then he doesn't work on it forever. He just looks at it, kind of stuff, tells me things to go purchase and that kind of stuff. He'll get right on it. Well, I go purchase and the stuff's still sitting there. The flooring has been there for months. We got rid of the oven that was in the side, a separate oven, and I purchased a gas range, and that's to be installed. But he ends up in the meantime buying a new house for himself from this woman that he's been doing yard work for years. She's like 90 something years old, and she sold it to him, and then she suddenly wanted to close much quicker than he expected, so he had to get all the loan done, through the VA, and then get that house purchased, and then fix it up and move. Because he had actually moved into the Quinault Street one.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So they just moved like twice in, I don't know, 4 months or something like that. Five.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know.
Did he turn Quinault into a rental?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick. Yeah. So then, yeah, so he was doing that and getting the rental up and going. And then of course he has to have vacation in there and then catch COVID. And it's just like a lot of stuff. And so finally he's working on it. And he actually had a friend pass away down in California from COVID. And they just went to funeral this weekend down there. So, gosh, yeah.
Well, how much are you guys paying in the space rent?
So 600 a month,
Ugh,
and so 5 months now, so that's 3,000.
ugh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he knows it's chopping away at his profit every time that it takes so long. And so now he's like considering painting the outdoors because the rains are coming. And I'm like, yeah, I was gonna suggest that.
So what is your guys' arrangement? Did you wholesale it to him?
No, it's a 50-50 split on after the net cost, including the holding costs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
And you're fronting the materials.
Yeah. So the money's coming out of my bank account the whole time for all of this. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But he's swinging the hammer. Yeah.
Hopefully. No, yeah. So we replaced all the windows. He put in installed a front door, and then
I heard about that.
Oh, did you install a window next to it? Yeah.
Yeah. So Bob, I was sitting over at Bob's place just the other night. His old neighbor called him and was like, "What the hell is that guy doing with your trailer? They took out the sliding door. I liked the sliding door." Like, really?
Sliding door is crap.
Yeah. Like it leaked, it was broken. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Those people in that community are funny.
They are fun. They talk to Tom all the time. He's saying that's part of the reason he's not getting his work done. Like one neighbor's like she comes over and follows him around and keeps talking and asking him questions.
That must be the one. Yeah. She's still friends with Bob and she's reporting back to Bob.
Oh yeah.
But Bob has dementia, so he like can't remember anything.
Right.
So.
He's like, sliding glass door? What sliding glass door?
Yeah, what?
Yeah, probably true. Yeah. Cool. Well, I think your deal, Jens, is really exciting. And I thought that you guys got it from knocking on doors, but you're getting it from like creating lists of different types and driving around.
Yeah, we're doing like door knocking and driving around too, but I'm focusing a lot on other stuff too, like anything that like I can figure might be a tired landlord, especially after COVID.
Yeah.
Some of them burned out, and then the divorce rate's up pretty high, so I figure there's some good chances of some stuff there. You name it, like anything that looks like evictions or just anything that I've heard about that might be a potential list to go after, and then trying to figure out how to find those. And then skip tracing and texting and reaching out. And so far, like phone calls, not so great, but text seem to work a lot better. I seem to actually get more response, like by far, by just doing texting. So, and
well, I was going to ask about texting, like how you're doing that. Are you doing automatic texting, or are you doing?
So I started mostly just doing it from my phone, but I know if I start to do like too much of the same message, it's gonna like my phone might actually kind of get blocked or picked up by like the spam police. Because I've been doing more research, and like the big companies that do a lot of it, they have fancy stuff that like changes certain parts of it. They call it like spinner tokens, and it changes the message a little bit each time, so that it makes it look kind of unique, so that like the spam police stuff doesn't catch it like Verizon or AT&T and go, "Oh, this looks familiar. We've seen this before." So we've seen a few of these, so we're actually going to block it and consider it spam. So I just have been doing a pretty genuine, like unique message on my own, but have been looking at ways of scaling it up. And now that we've had some success and I realize I get a much better response rate with text, I'm looking at doing that. But again, it costs a bit more. So I didn't want to put a bunch of money into it before I had a lot of faith that I'd have enough money to get it to a point
Yeah.
of getting a deal to keep going. So, yeah.
All right, that's cool. I think like I've been doing driving neighborhoods kind of stuff and then calling them. And so it's interesting that you're finding that the texting. And
Yeah,
how are you getting the phone numbers then?
skip tracing. Again, I've done this stuff, like I wasn't able to get in with IDA, like data,
Yeah.
but I was able to get in with Intellius. And so I can do a lot of my stuff that way. But like, as far as scaling goes, it's really kind of, it looks like batch leads is better. And like, again, your expenses are getting more, they're getting bigger, but it definitely is kind of a numbers game, it seems like. So.
Yeah. Okay, I'll set up.
Yeah.
I'll let Zach be in charge.
Oh, I'm in charge. Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking that I would love to talk to Kevin and Saffron and you about working on that deal together. I've wanted to work with them for a long time. So that's what I'm thinking. I wonder if they
I'll send him this video.
listen to the video.
The video here of this meeting. Oh, we talked about you. You better watch this.
I know. I'm like, careful, don't get me in trouble. They might be like, you shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that listing that I sent you, Grace.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the numbers were pretty tight on that one. And it was only like a 1,300 square foot house in South Eugene, but prices are crazy over there.
Yeah, this is the university area,
Right.
the hills. And I just don't ever.
Hi there.
Hey, she's on.
Hey.
Hey.
Sorry. Yeah, I have a standing meeting 12 to 12:30 on first Monday.
Ah, good to know. So we should make this one at 12:30 to 1:30 then, huh, Zach?
I can do that.
It's doable. Yeah. But so anyways, I just like hate to buy off of the MLS, and you probably saw the documents, like they're probably paying 4.5% in realtor commissions is probably. Do you think?
The sellers.
Is the sellers, that's true. So and the listing is $20,000 more than the price you quoted in the email, so they got a deal on it in a way.
They did, and they actually thought they could get it down to 350 during the inspections.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
And then for personal, okay, so this.
And also the guy that I was working with, I had him pre-approved, but prior to talking to me, he was planning on closing the transaction with a more conventional FHA rehab loan. And the sellers agreed to that, which tells me that they were okay with, a 45 to 60 day close. And that also tells me that there might be some competitive advantage if somebody were to come in there and say that they could close, 10 days from now that they're having to relist the property. It's a pretty good advantage to go in and say, hey, your situation, I know it sucks, but let me help you.
Yeah. You guys want to catch Alyssa up on what we talked about today?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Or do you just want to watch the movie?
You have a movie?
Well,
The replay.
the replay, yeah.
Oh, the replay. Oh, the recording, right.
Yeah.
Well, Alyssa, earlier we were talking about Jens' first contract with Kevin and Saffron. Great numbers on the deal. You want to share those real quick?
Yeah, so acquisition price 235, rehab is estimated to be about 40,000. And the ARV should be about 412 on the low end and up to 429 on the high end.
Wow.
Yeah. Again, it's a projected ARV based off of when it'll go in the market. And we got that from like a broker that they work with a lot to, so it's not like our ARV is there right now, but it's projected to be by the time it goes on market. But I think
Mhm.
even the current ARV is still like around like 390. So like
What's the
390.
work that,
Yeah,
what's the rehab for 40,000?
So it's mostly like, you know, kitchens, baths, flooring, inside paint, and sadly, like it's got a metal roof, which is great. It's even got like the gutter guards that are like really nice. The paint on the outside is fantastic in condition, terrible in color choice. So unfortunately, it has to get painted. But at least there shouldn't be like any kind of crazy sanding or having to replace stuff. It's got like a deck out back that's like that composite material stuff. So like nice low maintenance. So really like there's not like a ton of work. It's just the flooring needs to be done and it just needs to be painted on the inside. And new kitchens and bathrooms for the most part. But it's got like a 2-year-old like furnace and air conditioning unit and like about the same like on the water heater. Like there's this lady had put like a lot of stuff into it, you know, like not too long ago, but she was just ready to get out. Like, and we almost didn't have a deal like until we're like, you know, I was thinking like, man, it's too bad we can't just come up that 15,000 that she wants to meet her at her number. And I was like, you know, it's just too bad it's not going to happen. And I thought we're, you know, like about to, you know, kind of part ways or whatever. And she's like, well, all right, I guess that's it. Let's do it. And I'm like, and we had masks on because she was like elderly and we're like, I think, you know, if we hadn't had masks on, she would have seen her jaws drop just a little bit. It was just like, all right, do not show emotion, do not show emotion. So, but yeah, I mean, she signed right then and there, like the first like actual in-person meeting we had. So
How did you find? I'm just amazed that for that little upgrades, it's going to increase the price so much.
she doesn't have the resources. I mean, she even knew she could. She's like, I don't have the resources and I just don't have the time. She put off her plans because of COVID for like a year and a half. She started to plan on selling back then and traveling, and she's had to delay and delay and delay, and she doesn't want to delay anymore. She's just
Mhm.
ready to hit the road. She's got a nice RV to live in already. And she's just, I mean, it's nice. Like it's really nice, the RV. And so she's like, I'm just ready to go, but I've got tenants and I've got to give them 30 days of notice. And so, you know, from when I sign, I got 30 days to like get them out and get me out and moved on. And I'm tired of waiting. So yeah.
That's
I was
awesome.
like, I know. I was like, all right, like this probably won't happen again for like a good while. So something that's nice. So yeah.
I have to say, one of the good things about your deal, I mean, there's many good things, but is that she's willing to evict the tenant and then sell it and then close.
Well, yeah, they're on a month to month. And so like one of them already kind of gave like a notice. So it's really just like 2 more and it's not a problem. She says like, yeah, they're month to month and, you know, they're kind of expecting it to come up sometime soon. So,
Mhm.
yeah. So yeah, it's not like there's any kind of long-term stuff to worry about. But yeah. But we didn't know what the RV was when we were actually like signing. We thought it was going to be more like 380. So that's why we thought the numbers were going to be different. And that's why we're like, oh, it's really tight. So, but if we had known more of where we, you know, where we understand it now, that's why it looks like it's going to be even better. But again, the market could cool. It could come back down, but at least there's some good cushion there. So
All
it just
right.
may not make as much as we thought, but.
So tell us the story of how you presented the offer. I mean, what did you guys do?
This is good.
Okay.
So this is going to make me sign up for the extra little part that the RIA group has online, some of those tools, because it's largely that. So used like the rehab estimator and basically did kind of a letter of intent kind of rehab estimation thing, but a lot of it was the seller net sheet. And so like asking those questions, like Saffron was sitting there with her phone plugging in. So like, what's your, you know, utility bill like per month and what's this and that? And So end up going through filling that thing in and then showing them the seller's sheet of what it's going to be like if they put it on the market with a realtor and how much it's going to cost. And it's like, so this is what you would net versus like what we're offering. And it's like not that much different. It's just time. So, and that was really it. Once they really see all the other expenses, your number definitely looks, not as offensive. So, and that helped. But I think a large part of it is like she said, she's like, I'm ready to go. Like, I mean, she emphasized it. So
she'd rather have a deal, even if it takes longer than be waiting.
Well, yeah, she didn't want to delay anymore.
Yeah.
So she was willing to take, I mean, she was asking for like, she's like, I want 250 to 260. And she even said, I'm like, I'm not taking anything less than that. And we're like, but like, and Kevin was like sweating bullets when Saffron kept kind of trying to move forward a bit. And she's like, well, I think we might be able to. And he's like, I don't know. He's like, I'm really nervous about that number. He's like, maybe we should talk about this. And after a while, I was like, I don't know if you were acting or playing, like, kind of being like the bad cop kind of part of it or what. I don't know. So I still need to ask him. I'm like, were you genuinely nervous or was that just a negotiating tactic?
How did you find this deal?
Really looking at every possible lead source I can research and find out about and just pursuing those. Like anything that might be like a motivated landlord or burned out landlord. I mean, just any possible list of everything and then reaching out. And I tried calls and I didn't get like a good response rate from calling, but I found out texting is a whole lot better on actually getting a conversation going. And then the next thing is like, hey, how would you like to just at least see what the offer looks like? And that's kind of what we started doing. It's just like, let's go out and just make offers, because it's a numbers game.
Just cold text?
Yeah. And I found, because I've been trying to do this for a while and like, trying to call people and whatever, but texting, I feel I get a much better response rate to at least get the conversation going. And then the next thing is it's like, well, how would you like to at least just see what the offer looks like? Okay. And we scheduled 2 for Thursday, and one was a couple going through divorce, and that still might happen, but it's a lot lower than they would like, but it's better than foreclosure, which is what they're looking at here pretty quick because they're not willing to be grown-ups and work together. The house is in a bit of sad condition. It's not going to do well on the market. It's got like some wood rot, and it looks like the kids have beat the crap out of the house, here and there. But it was built in 2007. It should be immaculate. The neighborhood is fantastic, but they are just so bitter towards each other. They won't work, and one won't sign and the other won't sign, and the clock's ticking. They had a balloon payment due, I think, Monday of like $28,000 they don't have. So it's like, we're the option that's better than foreclosure. So if they can't get their act together, we're still their better option. So we'll just see, but it's probably going to be down to the last minute. So, or maybe not. Maybe they'll be like, let's work together and deal with a broker and get more out of it. But it won't do great on the market in the current condition, but it'll probably get more than what we can give them for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it won't be able to get FHA funding or like a VA or any kind of thing like that. It'd have to be conventional with like the 20% down, which is going to really reduce the pool. So the potential buyers on it.
Why is that?
Yeah. Just because like the wood rot on like part of the side of the house, like the whole door frame going out the backyard, it's completely like rotted on the outside. I don't know how. The house was built in 2007.
Right.
It's like the sprinkler or something just like constantly like hitting that side of the house. Like there's a few like corner column pieces on the outside that are just like rotted too.
Where is that?
Lebanon. But it's in a nice neighborhood in Lebanon. Like you would not think there'd be a distressed house in that neighborhood walking down the street, like driving down it. So but yeah, so we'll see, if they keep being stubborn and silly and emotional, they might even end up just going to foreclosure and having that to deal with.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at least we're some walking away money and not foreclosure. So it's more money than they paid for the house by a little bit, not a lot. So,
still better. Yeah.
Still better. We'll see. But yeah, we had 2 offers scheduled and it was the second one. And I was flabbergasted. I'm like, hey, we got 2 out of the way, like maybe 100 to go, and one of them will probably hit. I just got to try and keep these going, like get appointments and go and make offers, and maybe 1 in 100. So it might be 98 more no's, before that like cycle starts over again.
Yeah.
But so, yeah.
Great
So-
job.
So I wanted to follow up on something. You said that you weren't sure, or somebody wasn't sure if somebody was playing good cop, bad cop, or what, and didn't.
Yeah.
What was that, Kevin?
Kevin wasn't sure. He thought it was going to be too tight, like
That
to
the
do
offer
the numbers,
was,
but again,
that the offer was too
yeah,
high. The three,
yeah,
the
the
235
235.
was too high. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he thought it was me too tight, but after he got looking at it, he's like, you know, I think I can probably do it for 40,000. And then we got the ARV back from like the broker,
Yeah.
and we're like, oh wait, this looks good, because at first we were just going to wholesale it.
Uh-huh. So
you know?
I got a text from Saffron on Thursday saying you're missing
That's
out.
when we were heading to drinks. Yeah, that's when we were heading out to go get drinks to celebrate.
And she said that Kevin is, you were probably there. Kevin is just,
Mhm.
you know, he was just beside himself that this thing works. You can just make an offer like that and they can accept.
We were all dumbstruck, because I was like, I thought you guys had done this before. They're like, no, like wait, early on we sort of did it once accidentally, but we've never just gone and made an offer. We usually buy it from a wholesaler or something like that. We've never actually gone and done this like this. We're like, so we were all just like dumbstruck and in shock. We're just like, this feels weird.
All their deals prior were from wholesalers?
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
Like not like something that they've gone out and found like a nice discounted deal like this on their own.
So they were mostly wholesalers, and then Susan Mills would get them into one, you know, with
Mhm.
the REO market, because she's an agent that works the REO market. So they could be listed, but you know, be able to walk a deal through. And one that they did was actually the property that they're now renting out, and it was their first property, and it's in Florence. And it was like over the phone kind of thing, where this woman said, I'm going to list it. And then 3 months later, she said, all right, are you still interested? You know?
And Saffron brought her offer down a bit more. But yeah, that was like, she said the only in the closest thing she's done like this. And that was like pretty early on. So
Yeah.
Are they doing an Airbnb out there?
mhm. Yeah.
That's right.
But yeah, so we talked a while ago, like I was delivering some food working and happened to stop by, and it was after some of our other stuff. And like Saffron asked, he's like, would you be interested in, you know, going out and doing like door knocking with us? And like, it's just more fun together. And I was like, let me think about it. Cause at first I was like, do I want to like split profits, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then I'm like, that's the greedy part of me talking. But you know what, you know, like the compound effect of like teaming up is just so much more powerful and effective, especially when each person can do what they're good at, and bring the right strengths to the table. You're just filling in the missing puzzle pieces. So right now it's kind of like I'm working on finding the leads and getting it to a point where people are like ready for like at least getting an offer. They help like with the numbers, and then it's up to them. It's like, do you guys want to flip it or are we going to wholesale it? And it just, you know, kind of a case by case basis. And if we get one, it's like, all right, we've got a JV agreement, right? You're ready to sign pretty much. And, you know, that way
Well,
we
it's
can
nice.
go. It's like,
Split, you're splitting profit, but you're also splitting expenses. So it's just that much easier
Mhm.
to approach more.
But
yeah.
but the
And that,
big factor is the motivation factor. When you have people that you're accountable to showing up,
Mhm.
doing the door knocking, or that you can call on to help you, it's that motivation that just,
yeah, accountability partner. It
The-
does
the-
make a difference.
day that we did that with Tony Young's, when he came out here, and there was what, 8 of us or whatever that were knocking on doors, or 10, whatever, just having the group, and we'd split up into pairs or threesomes or whatever and go knocking and talking, and it just made it so much more fun and easy. By yourself sucks. I mean,
It does.
I've done it a lot
Yeah.
by myself, but putting it together is fun. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, it's different
Yeah.
energy too. You show up and you're with this group and or with another person and you're having fun, and it's more of a conversation. When you're by yourself, it can be
Yeah.
like,
The rejection's less like depressing, like when you're still got somebody else there with you going through it. So you can still like make jokes and laugh and move on.
Yeah.
But it's just you're like, oh man, why is this not working? So
Right.
Can you talk a bit about the structure of your JV agreement? So are you guys, you know, forming an entity together or doing a?
just one-offs, one at a time for now,
Yeah.
just because we might need to adjust. And so each particular deal is kind of its own JV agreement, just so we're like kind of only committed for that. And that way we can adjust.
Yeah.
If we kind of find out it's like, wait, like I'm doing way more work or you're doing way more work, and you know,
Yeah.
like maybe the numbers need to change. And it's like, so that way each time it's like, well, is this working for us? Should we continue? But it's not like a big entity and tax structure and all that kind of stuff. I have my own, company with my own EIN number. They've got their own. And so it's just.
So
like
at
independent
closing, you'll do
contractor.
it, at closing, you'll do like a tenants in common on title?
They're gonna go on
Property owner?
title on anything we own.
Ah.
I just, on the JV agreement, like I get, a profit split like when we close. But if we
Right.
wholesale it, then, either escrow will pay me my check or they'll pay me a check either way. But
Gotcha.
and again,
Okay.
it's like, each one of these is kind of like a one-off, and it's a small community. I trust
Yeah.
them because, they're not gonna do anything weird. One, I've known them since the day I got to town, but two, like it's a small group, like people will talk if anybody
Yeah.
does anything like shady, you can't really hide something like that.
Right.
Just doing one of these in an agreement for each one, it's like, all right, well, it's working or it's not working. If it's working, we'll keep doing it. If it's not working, we don't have to. No big deal.
Are you writing your own agreement then?
Yeah, we whipped something up. And I mean, if I didn't know them this well, I'd probably go through an attorney, but I mean,
Yeah.
I did try and find some stuff and copy like certain clauses and things like that. And again, like these are the things you should cover in a JV agreement, like the purpose of it and like the distribution and like termination and all these
Right.
different things. And so, I mean, right now, the first one, it still might be considered a rough draft, but each time it might get improved little by little. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, all the expenses get settled first, like
Yeah.
closing costs and all that kind of stuff. And then once there's, a number that's in it for profit, then it's like, all right, this is the split. So, and it's different on a wholesale deal versus a flip, because a flip, they're way more involved. And I'm pretty much not involved, and I have no authority during the flip phase. I can contribute, which then I'm like a volunteer, and it doesn't change the distribution at all. Like I can go take pictures for them if they're on vacation and, just whatever might be useful. But other than that, they can tell me I'm in the way, like, and I
Yeah.
don't need to be there, and that's totally fine. I don't need to swing a hammer. I'm good. So, but yeah, they get a bigger split on a flip, but it's pretty much 50-50 on wholesale stuff for now. So, we'll see as we move forward what seems fair, and maybe adjust accordingly if we need to.
Good for you guys. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congrats.
And I'm learning. Yeah, I'm learning all the
Yeah,
time.
at the same time, you're gaining, a base. Yeah.
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 Yeah. I just need enough money to keep like my living costs covered as I learn and get momentum, and I'm happy
Yeah.
for now. So it's all good.
For Alyssa and Zach, we did this hidden market weekend with Tony Young's. The
Mhm.
price for the training was $995 for the weekend thing. It was a 3-day.
Best return on investment course ever.
Yeah,
So far.
And we, as a group, got a flip, which is, we call it the Grovedale, under contract, and sold the contract, wholesaled the contract for $6,000. And we were basically 6 entities. So we split the $6,000, $1,000 each. So made $5.
$5.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody
Nice.
pretty much got their money back, which is like, this works. And
Yeah.
yes, now you got your money back for the course.
You got education and you didn't have to pay for it in the end because it paid for
Yeah.
itself.
And you got
Yeah.
practice at the same time. So it was a win-win-win. Yeah.
And
And it
his
was
thing was
magical.
like door knocking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was magical to see people not too pissed off at you, like as you would door knock, and like, okay, so it's a little less intimidating, except for occasionally there would be like somebody really mad.
Yeah.
But they were screaming before the door was knocked on at somebody else.
So, but there was the party. Tell them about the Hispanic family that says,
Oh.
yeah, we want to sell our house.
Yeah, we ended up like in this like impromptu fiesta in somebody's backyard. Just like, they weren't necessarily like ready to sell their house or whatever. But he was like a junk hauler or a recycler person.
Yeah.
And so some of us in the group, I know Kevin and Saffron, their current house they're flipping, they gave him a call and he came out and cleaned out a whole bunch of stuff from their backyard. And they're like, yep, just take it. So for him, it's free money. He's just
Nice.
ecstatic. But anyway, they were giving us like shots and drinks and like just big old conversation. I mean, it was like good old happy time. And we're like, this is great, but we're supposed to be knocking on doors right now.
Nice.
So,
Yeah,
but still a good contact to make.
but it was a good lesson on the generosity of your people that you might run into. Is like, not everybody's hateful out there. It's like,
Yeah, it's like, no, we're not really interested in selling our house, but would you like a drink?
We got a party going on, the more merrier.
No, actually, the wife had come home and I approached her. I see this little Hispanic woman getting out of this great big truck. And I was like, so I'm going to just go up and ask her, how come she's driving that great big truck? And then her husband gets home in another driveway. And so I'm talking to her in our broken languages, barriers, and telling her that we buy houses and we're interested in buying their house. Are you interested in selling? She's like, yes, in January, it's basically. So then she tells her husband, and then I'm asking if we can see the house. Can I go in? And she says, oh yes, come on in. And then by the time we're halfway through the house, their cerveza started coming out. And then the tequila starts coming out by the time we make it to the backyard.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that was before we had lunch even. So
Yeah, we hadn't had lunch yet. It was 11 in the morning. I was like,
I guess that's kind of like driving for dollars, driving for parties.
yeah,
Get some free drinks.
yeah. And then of course the joke was, did you get your shot? I got my shot. And it was during when the vaccines are just rolling out, kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
yeah. It's like, which shot? This shot or this shot?
Yeah, it was funny. Anyways, well, I appreciate everybody getting on. Thank you, Zach, for leading this. Do you have any closing thoughts, or does anybody have any more questions? Okay.
Yeah, my closing thoughts are, if anybody has a deal to analyze, talk to a lender, because we look at deals all day long. Grace, I tell you this all the time. It's like, just, I'm crunching numbers. That's mostly my job. So I'm happy to look at any opportunity that somebody has and crunch the numbers, give my opinion on it and help out in any way I can. So, yeah.
Sorry, Alyssa missed the crunching of the numbers on the deal earlier too. We talked about it.
I'll watch the
all
replay.
this stuff
I'll watch
there.
the first part.
Yeah.
Instant replay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as I get it up, I'll let you know. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, happy week, everybody. Have a prosperous week. And Zach, I'll talk to you about this university property. Okay.
Sure.
In about.
Oh, one quick question. If you're holding, do you usually go long-term rental even with the COVID market? Well, now that it's the hold is ended, or do you look at like Airbnb or furnished? Or does anyone really hold? You're usually flipping.
A lot of investors are moving towards the short-term rental, AKA Airbnb model. And I would think it would depend on your property location.
It just seems like there's a lot you're paying for all the services, whereas otherwise your tenant's paying for all their services. Like power, utilities, internet.
Unless you can get it at such a deal though, like the cash flow, like you're usually cash flow negative, like with the current property prices around here right now, unless you somehow get a major steal and turn it into a rental.
Oh, I'm turning my current
So you're
property
just
into
cash flow
rental.
negative
I'm in contract for another place, so I'll move out of this one.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the other way, is like if you buy it, live in it for a while and let it appreciate and then rent it out, then in which case you did buy it at a good price and now it makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but
Okay.
So one of the things to check into, see if you can, Alyssa, is about renting it to like the medical,
traveling nurses and
the universe of nurses that traveling nurses, and they usually spend 6 months or something like that at a place, and then their company pays for it and that kind of
pay
thing.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to use 5-star property management here in Eugene. She does an awesome job, so I'll
Okay.
pick her brain a little bit too.
Good. Yep. Ask her.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. All right, bye,
Great.
everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.